Good morning. Some days you're forced to take your own medicine. Today's one of those days for me, and actually, yesterday was one of those days for me, and it's continuing today. The title that I've chosen for this morning's talk is 2012 When People Disappoint Us. And a little blurb that I wrote, okay. I've been hearing from people regarding my attitude towards David Wilcock and Drake. I was told at last night's meeting by a friend, in addition to others in various comments yesterday, that I am not practicing what I preach. I need to look at this honestly, for indeed that is what I encourage others to do. I also found TUTs message for today. That's Mike Dooley's message for the TUTs Adventurers Club that I share periodically. It's a new message every day from Monday through Friday. He wrote, "One thing I know for sure, Ron, is that with time, everything becomes clear. All questions are answered. What's broken is restored. New trails are blazed. Hearts are mended. Love returns. And you will look over your shoulder with a tear in your eye at life's utter perfection. And best of all, Ron, time is one thing you have plenty of. Trust me. The universe. P.S. Yeah, Ron, it did take me some time to figure all that out." I'm going to actually start with what I just read from Tut, because it presents an image of God, the universe, in case you don't know, for those of you that don't know, is one of the terms used to express divinity, the universe. You could say the cosmos. You could say Great Spirit. You could say all that is. You could say Creator. You could say many things. The universe is just one term that expresses divinity. And Mike is saying, from the voice of divinity, that it took some time to figure all that out. It did take God some time to figure all that out. And that's an interesting concept, because many of us have the concept, have been taught the concept of God as being completely perfect and doesn't have anything to learn, knows the end from the beginning, knows everything that's going to happen. And I've often wondered about that, because even though that's what I've been taught, there are times in my life that I get the impression that God is figuring things out through creation, the same as the creation is figuring things out through the experiences that happen to us individually and collectively. Indeed, God is evolving as creation evolves. And I think there's elements, at least, of truth in that. And I also hope that there are elements of truth in the idea that God did have a plan at the beginning and had something figured out. I take great solace in the idea that somebody knows what the heck is going on in this whole drama being played out in our lives. And yet, it makes sense to me that God is right in me, evolving as me, along with me, and along with you, and along with all of us. God is in us. We live and move and have our being in God. Some people have said, I look at the world and there has to be two gods, and one of them has to be a demon. And if the real God, or the God over the over God, or the overlord, is allowing the demons to run amok, then must be a sadist or something like that. There must be something wrong with that God. And I hear all these things. And so when David Wilcock interviewed Drake the first time, actually, I had heard Drake prior to that, and I thought he was an okay guy. And I actually thought he was an okay guy on several interviews until he made the statement that he would shoot Tim Turner if Tim Turner came after him, which Tim Turner's not going to go after anybody, folks. Nobody at all. And the Republic is moving forward, whether anybody likes it or not. In fact, I have a new friend, Raheem, who thanked me for my friendship, for accepting his friendship. And he said, we must unite as human beings to continue the awakening. And he's right. And I know he's right. And that includes my attitude towards Drake. I mean, yes, he made a comment that I didn't like. I'll bet you I've made comments that some of you haven't liked. Let me turn around a little bit and change position. We all disappoint one another. Sometimes we even disappoint ourselves. Haven't you done that? I know I have. Where I react to a situation in a way that surprises even me. I know that happened one time when somebody called me a liar. I couldn't believe that I reacted in a split second by actually slapping the person. And I wasn't proud of that. I didn't think that was in me, and yet it was. And yet it was. So I know what it is to disappoint myself, to be disappointed by the behavior and attitude of friends. I have long respected David Wilcock. I mean, if he put something out, I would read it as soon as I had the opportunity to do so. His latest posting, I still haven't read it. Will I? Yeah, I probably will, although I do have a lot on my plate, and my scheduling this week has not gone as I intended it to go, as I thought it was going to go. I had hoped that I'd be starting to write my response to the court by now, but I still don't have all the pieces together. I thought I would have them on Tuesday. I didn't get them on Tuesday. I hope to have them by the end of today and be able to start on that project, which will take some time and concentration on my part. And yet, as my friend said to me last night, Ron, you can't just throw what David and Drake and others that you've trusted are saying. You can't just throw that away because they said something you didn't like. You got to recognize, as with everything, you take what you do like and you let go of what doesn't resonate. Simple as that, and that's true. I've encouraged you, and I've encouraged others. Somebody made a video that they sent me yesterday, which I did not approve of, as a video response to my talk yesterday. They were talking, first of all, they were talking behind the mask. And I have a tendency in general to not like the masks, especially when there's a whole bunch of people using the same mask to hide behind. That's one of the reasons I don't care for Drake, because his name is a mask. He's not willing to come out and say, this is who I am. He still lives in fear. And that's disappointing to me, because it's so much more effective when we're willing to be our real self, when we're willing to be authentic and say, this is who I am. And if we're feeling afraid, Admit it. Admit, this is what I'm feeling. That's what my intention has been to do that, and I've done overall a pretty good job as I've made these videos. But anyway, this person was knocking people that believe in the Galactic Federation of Light, or ETs. And it was a farce that he was presenting. That's not really the word that I'm looking for. I can't think of the word. The Landover Baptist Church did it tremendously. Satire. He was using satire. And he was identifying at the end some of the people that are misleading others, and I was one of them. Paradox Man 316. There I was with the candles burning behind me and the clock, and I was one of the misleaders that was getting people to believe, or encouraging people to believe in the Galactic Federation of Light. Do I believe in it? Yeah, I do believe that the universe is far more organized than we think it is. And I do believe that there is an unfolding and a plan being worked out. I do believe that things are becoming clearer, even when they don't look very clear to us in a particular moment, when people disappoint us and when things don't happen quickly enough to suit our expectations. Things are being restored. New trails are being blazed. Hearts are being mended. Mine, yours, every one of us. And sometimes I react, sometimes we all react in a way that may not be ultimately in our best interest to be as loving and as open as we would like to be. So I'm sharing these things with you this morning because they are coming back and I'm looking at them. That's what my meditations are all about being the observer, looking at what's going on in my life and asking, what do you see? What do you feel? What do you think about this? How do you choose to identify it and express it? And I believe that we need to express it. And I have the unique opportunity to be doing this on a daily basis and have people that actually care. And then there are some that actually don't like what I'm doing, and they express themselves too, and I very rarely censor them. Although there's been a couple of video responses that I've had over the course of time that when I've watched, sometimes I just approve them without even watching them. But some of them that I've watched, I've disapproved because I don't want to be putting out and seen as approving something that I really don't like and really don't agree with. So anyway, I'm saying all this morning to reveal to you another part of this process that we're going through. The process of self-examination. The process of when people disappoint us, to be willing to say, yeah, I don't have to agree with everything they say. They have perspectives that I don't have. David disappointed me because he refused to interview Tim Turner and give Tim Turner equal time after having given Drake a couple of hour, that was 3-hour interview or something like that. It was a long one. And he refused to do that for Tim Turner. He has his reasons. I like Tim Turner. So people that don't like Tim Turner aren't going to like me now. Although some of them will still listen, amazingly. And I will go back and I will look at David's latest post when I get a chance. I will. Because there's even channeled messages. The channeled messages, for example, that say Obama is a good guy. I haven't believed that in a long time. I don't know if I ever really believed it. I wanted to believe it. but I've never seen enough evidence to even indicate the possibility that it's true, that he's working for humanity and working for the highest good. Although I do know that even the Illuminati is working for the highest good at some level and from some perspective. That's hard for people to understand. It's hard to grasp with our rational mind. It's hard to get through all of our filters of judgment. It's hard to get through that. I know, because I experience it too. And so, as I draw this to a close today, let me encourage you, as I'm being encouraged, to do our best to keep an open mind and an open heart, and to allow love to enable us to take what we like and put aside what we're not ready to hear yet, or what we think is wrong, and to look at the heart. Oh, yes. To look at the heart. Is the person doing the best they can? I know I am. And I have to believe that even some of the people that I strongly disagree with, they're probably, if I was in their shoes, I'd probably come to the realization that they are doing the best they can too. Because we all serve, as I said a couple of days ago, our own self-interest. That's the way it was. That's the way it is. We serve our own self-interest. The more we are willing to see from the position that everything is interconnected, the healthier that self-interest will be and is. So thank you again for letting me share my rambling thoughts and feelings with you. And if I've disappointed you, I ask forgiveness. And when others disappoint you and when you disappoint yourself, forgiveness really is the key. And that's, I'm realizing that that's been a theme this week, is forgiveness. And forgiveness is a gift that you give yourself. It's not what you do to the other person. It's what you give to yourself. So again, thank you for listening, and namaste.